please be upstanding.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Why'd you have to leave so soon? Why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to leave me when I needed you the most? 'Cause I don't really know how to tell you without feeling much worse. I know you're in a better place, but it's always gonna hurt. Carry on, give me all the strength I need to carry on. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Oh, oh, when I see you again.
On behalf of Tom and his daughters, Amy, Zorana, Zariella and Alaska, and the Davison and Smith extended families, I thank you for attending today to remember, mourn and celebrate the life of Cara Rosemary Davison. My name is Iris Bloomer, and I had the honour of being the celebrant who officiated at Tom and Cara's wedding on the 3rd of July this year. So luckily I met and chatted to Cara and Tom in very exciting and happy occasions over their journey to be married. My thoughts on Cara? She was a real family person. Tom and her daughters were everything to her. She is someone who gave unstintingly and loved being able to help those who needed it. I remember that one time I visited, she'd just finished homeschooling Amy, and both were smiling, having shared and enjoyed the time that they had spent together. She could roll with the punches. The wedding date, time and location was changed at least 3 times because of the dreaded COVID. But she could still smile and just email me and write, "Can you manage this date or time or place?" Then settle back to the planning every time it was altered, just as if this was normal to have so many changes. They talked about getting married from before Amy was born, but then the children started to happen, so it was popped on the back burner until they could have all of them with them. What a beautiful wedding group they made. It was special to them that it was finally held at Gary and Karen's home. Tim's parents and all of their closest relatives could be present. She was quite goal-orientated, as shown when she lost a lot of weight. She wanted to succeed, and set her sights on where she wished to be, and she achieved that target. She treasured her time in the kitchen, having worked as a cook for many years, and Tom did not have to do much there. When I visited shortly before today, I asked how he was coping, and he said the community was amazing and he did not have to fall back on his rudimentary skills as yet. But Cara kept the house, kitchen and everything in and around her home so beautifully that Tom really has big shoes to fill. But mostly she loved being a partner, then wife to Tom, a loving mother to her 4 girls, and a loving daughter and daughter-in-law, as well as the perfect sister to her siblings. This is how she would want to be remembered and how her legacy will live on. I'd now like to read to you a poem for Cara's 4 girls entitled Your Mother is Always With You, and it's written by Deborah R. Culver. She's the whisper of the leaves as you walk down the street. She's the smell of certain foods you remember, flowers you pick, the fragrance of life itself. She's the cool hand on your brow when you're not feeling well. She's your breath in the air on a cold winter's day. She's the sound of the rain that lulls you to sleep, the colours of a rainbow. She is Christmas morning. Your mother lives inside your laughter. She's a place you come from, your first home. She's the map you follow with every step you take. She's your first love, your first friend, even your first enemy. But nothing on earth can separate you. Not time, not space, not death. I'd now like to ask Tiffany Smith to come forward and read the eulogy, please.
I don't know how far I'll get.
No, you're right. Your mum and dad are coming and they'll be there. Just turn around if you need.
I don't know. In 2012, wait, is that the start? Okay. In 2012, Cara met Tom. I don't know if I can. Hang on.
Stay here with me. Come on. Come on. In 2012, Cara met Tom. They met on a blind date, and the rest is history. As soon as my family met Tom, we knew he was the one for Cara, and we welcomed him into our family with open arms. He was the kindest, most down-to-earth guy, and most importantly, he treated our Cara amazingly. He made her so incredibly happy and gave her the family she always wanted, which we will be forever thankful for. In 2014, they started their own family when Amy Lynn was born. And 2 years later, in 2016, Zarana came along. Oops. And then in 2018, they were surprised by the twins, Zariella and Alaska. And alas, their family was complete. And at last, that should be, sorry, alas, their family was complete. I think I can talk for everyone here in saying Cara was a natural-born mother. She raised those girls beautifully and never complained once or told us how hard it is, even though we all knew it was. She wanted so badly to be happy and healthy for the kids. The past 3 years, she'd lost 75 kilos so she could run around and play with the kids and make herself healthy so that she could always be there by their sides. She loved nothing more than being a mum, and those girls will forever know her. Do you want to go on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her favourite time of the year was Christmas. She would watch Christmas movies the whole year round, and she would go crazy buying the kids presents and making yummy foods. I can't know.
Buying the kids presents and making yummy foods. Cara loved family gatherings and was always the one hosting and planning as many as she could. At every time, Cara would always throw herself into making the yummiest of foods and the most spectacular cakes. She was always happiest when her family was around her. She would always have Bella and Sophia over for sleepovers and make sure Daniel and Damon visited, never making anyone feel left out. Cara always had a special bond with Mum and Dad. She was their firstborn, and they would have done anything for their little girl. They were always there to kiss her cuts and bruises better, to laugh and to cry with. They always knew how to make her feel better. Cara would always try to plan surprises for them and get presents with meaning, all to show them how much she appreciated everything they did. The last few months Cara was sick, all she wanted was her family around her, and our parents dropped everything to be with her. practically living with her for 4 months, and I know how much that helped her just knowing they were there. I know it kills them inside that they couldn't kiss Cara and make the pain she was in go away. I was so lucky that Cara and I had such a strong bond. We did absolutely everything together. When we were young, we would constantly catch the bus to the city, even saving our money so we could spend nights at Crown and just stay in the room all night talking. She took me on my first and only aeroplane ride to Queensland for my 17th birthday and surprised me with a trip to Dreamworld. We would go on drives that would last for hours, just driving anywhere and everywhere. We would get to the end of the road and she would tell me to choose either left or right. And away we went, because it was never about where we were going. It was about spending time together, laughing and getting lost. She always brought me along on adventures with her and Tom, and brought me along to Tom's family functions where everyone welcomed me and no one questioned what Tom's girlfriend's sister was doing there. We were a pair, and that's just how it was. I was lucky to be the first person to know about her first 2 pregnancies and see her face just light up. We would always get matching tattoos, wear matching clothes, and get our hair done the same because we just loved doing things together. I never had a lot of friends because I didn't need them. I only ever needed my sister, the other half of me, the one I could talk to for hours on end and never get bored, the one who would help me get ready to go out and do my makeup and choose my outfits. She would stay on the phone with me just when I needed to cry or vent, and gave me just the best advice. I will never be whole again, but I know you will always guide me in life, just like you did when you were here. Last year when Tom proposed to Cara, everyone was over the moon, 9 years together, and this was finally happening, the moment both families had been waiting for. Cara was so excited to plan the special day, which unfortunately had to be rescheduled. Finally, on the 3rd of July, Cara and Tom became Mr. and Mrs. Davison. It was the most magical day until Cara started to feel unwell. She tried so hard to push through and see her special day out, but she didn't even get to see her wedding cake as she was in so much pain. As you all know, 3 days after a wedding, after many tests and appointments, she was diagnosed with bowel cancer, which we later learned had spread to her liver and lungs. Except for their wedding day, you would never have thought that Cara had been in any pain, because that's the kind of person she was. She never wanted people to worry about her, but now we all had to be strong and help her and her family along this journey. When Tamara and the group of mums came together and organised the GoFundMe page, Cara was not keen. She didn't want people to feel sorry for her. She wanted to fight this battle with her family, silently, and not have people fuss over her. She even told me that she was worried no one would care about her. But the community proved her wrong. They fought alongside her like I have never seen before. She said to me she never realised how many people cared about her. So thank you to everyone for showing her how much she was loved and supported. You all honestly have made the world of difference. From the donations to the food to the messages and everything in between, thank you from the bottom of my heart. The type of cancer Cara had was not hereditary, and there was nothing she could have done to prevent it. It was the type young people get that just ruins them. Yet she fought so hard. But in the end, the cancer had taken over. On the 30th of October, Cara told us she was ready to go. We definitely weren't ready, but she was in so much pain, and then the world became a darker place as Cara took her last breath, surrounded by her loving family. Cara wanted nothing more from life than to be married to Tom and have a family with him, and the fact that she got to do that before she left the world, I think we can all find peace in that. Cara's legacy will live on in those kids of hers. You are one of a kind, Cara. You'll be remembered and you'll be missed every single day. Until we meet again, thank you, Tiffany Smith, or Tiffany. After speaking the first time with Tom, I said, "Do you want to say a few words?" And he said no. Then a day or so later, I received a letter from him to Cara. I'd like to read that now. I'd like to take a moment and firstly apologise to everyone here and to everyone at home. I would really have liked to have had the strength to be able to stand here in front of you today and talk about Cara, but unfortunately, my heart just aches too much. There are just no words that will ever be anywhere good enough to cover just what an incredible person Cara was. I have never met anyone who was as strong as she was and had a heart the size that she did. When I was first getting to know Cara, it wasn't actually all that easy. She certainly knew how to put up a few walls before getting to know the real person inside. But somehow, luckily for me, I managed to see through these walls, and I just knew what an amazing person she was. One of the big attractions for me was the sense of how much of a natural mother she was. From a very young age myself, I always knew I wanted to have kids. And I know that Mum and Dad will have a few embarrassing stories about me to back that up. As soon as I met Cara, I just had the feeling that she would be an outstanding mother. But what I thought back then never even came close to just how incredible she was. I still can't believe how lucky I was to have someone like her fall in love with me. She was amazing with the girls. She always knew how to comfort them and how to calm them down. She always made the best dinners that the girls loved. Her bonds with them were unbreakable. The girls were always at their happiest when they were cuddling their mummy. Cara had to be the strongest person I'd ever encountered. She gave birth to 4 of the most beautiful girls she would ever meet, with the last 2 being twins. She went on a huge weight loss journey to improve her health so she could be more active with our girls, as they were growing up so quick and were just getting faster and faster. And it's certainly not that easy to lose weight, but she had the strength and willpower to push through until she did get to her goal weight. The other reason why she's the strongest person I know is, unfortunately, she had a bit of an anxiety issue, and one of her main triggers was hospitals. Even with knowing this, she still managed 3 pregnancies with hospital stays over in Warragul, and that's not even to mention her recent battle where her anxiety was really pushed to its limits. Knowing that hospitals were already a trigger was enough, but to be also facing a life-threatening illness as well, it made it that much harder. What also made things worse was the fact that this was all happening during the worst of the COVID outbreaks, which made it near on impossible for me to be with her all the way. Through the whole battle, I always tried everything I could to be with her as long as I could. In hospitals, there are only certain hours I was allowed to stay, yet every day we would ask if I could stay, and sometimes we had to bend the rules just a bit, as we had nurses asking high-up managers for special permission. But unfortunately, there were times when I weren't allowed to stay. Those times were absolutely heartbreaking, but I always let Cara know that the furthest I would ever be was the car park, despite countless offers from friends and family for places to stay. There was even this one hospital where I couldn't even get a foot through the front door, day or night. So Cara had to battle a blood clot in her lung by herself for 2 whole days. To say I'm proud of her is an understatement. She did an incredible job and showed outstanding strength to be able to go through all this. She often would tell me the only reason she was able to do this was because of her girls. The only reason she was able to push through it was because she just wanted to be there for her girls. And it just destroys me inside, knowing that despite everything she went through, there was to be no miracle for her at the end, and she won't be able to see her girls grow up. Life can be just so cruel sometimes and absolutely unfair, yet there is no reason to how or why this happened. It's just one absolutely shocking hand that life has dealt to her. She fought so hard and so bravely, but unfortunately it was one of things where by the time the symptoms showed, it is, more often than not, just too late. One of the positives to come out of this was that she got to see all her family as her time ended. She took her last breath surrounded by her mum and dad, brothers and sisters, as well as me and the girls, and that's just the way she wanted it to be, surrounded by all the ones she loved most. Saying my last goodbye to her was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. The only thing that was close to as hard, or possibly even harder, was when I had to tell our 4 baby girls that Mummy was sick and there was nothing more the doctors could do for her and that our time with her was short. As it turned out, she died that night, but they still all got to have one last cuddle with Mummy in her bed during the day. My heart will never be the same again. You were my life. You were the one and only one for me. I'm just so lucky to be the one to call you mine, and you gave me the 4 most amazing and most beautiful girls that anyone could ever ask for. There is no way that you'll ever be forgotten as your spirit and attributes shine right through all of the girls. They are all constant reminders of how amazing you really were. I know that life will never be the same without you, but I know you'll always be with us and you'll always have that special place in our hearts. To Cara's mum Joanne and her sisters Tiffany, Isabella and Sophia, and also to my mum Karen, I need you all to make sure that I have some of you nearby, as raising 4 girls is going to be more than hectic at times, especially when they start becoming teenagers. I'll definitely be needing plenty of hands then. And then to Cara's dad, Tim, and her brothers, Daniel and Damon, as well as my dad, Gary, and brothers, Ben and Adam. And also to Tiffany's partner, Sonny, and to all friends and family. I'll need plenty of people around ready to have a beer at a moment's notice when things get tough. I'm sure I'll have plenty of volunteers. To our friends, family and local community, where do I even start? All of you have just blown us away with all the love and support that we have received through Cara's journey, and we are continuing to receive. We are truly blessed to be surrounded by such loving and caring people. I wish I could thank everybody individually, but there are just so many people that have just gone above and beyond. So I know that I could never thank you all enough for everything that everyone has done for us, but I have to say it. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You all have made the world of difference, and it really means so much to us. You all now have a place in our hearts. To Cara, I promise I will do everything in my power to keep our girls safe. I promise I'll always put them first before anything else. I promise I'll make them smile and make them laugh, and promise I'll cuddle them when they're sad and comfort them when they are not well. I will continue being the good father you always knew I was. I can't do this without you, but I know you'll always be there to guide me. I'm sorry it took so long to propose to you. You always knew how much you meant to me and knew I was always going to eventually, but we decided having kids first was more important to us. I know that I've told you I love you multiple times a day. We probably said it more times than any couple should have, but those words themselves never felt like they were ever enough to ever coming close to telling you how I really felt. But now that you're gone, I would give anything to hear you say it one last time. As sad as this occasion is, let's not dwell on how tragic and depressing losing Cara is. Let's celebrate the life that she had and all she achieved in the time she had. 4 amazing kids. Massive weight loss journey, loving wife, outstanding cook, beautiful daughter, caring friend, and one heck of a fighter. So now I'll have to do the next hardest thing I've ever done, and that is to again say one last and final goodbye to the love of my life. Goodbye, babe. Thank you for everything you did for us and all that you have taught us. I love you. You will forever be my always, Tom. Now, Tom's mum has given me something that she would like read from some relatives in Western Australia. The world may never notice if a snowdrop doesn't bloom, or even pause to wonder if the petals fall too soon. But every life that ever forms or ever comes to be touches the world in some small way for all eternity. Our love and thoughts are with Tom, Amy, Zorana, Zariella, and Alaska. Memories are a treasure that time cannot take away. From the families in Western Australia, Gail, Paul, Emma, Stacey, Matt, Amanda, and baby Roman, Wendy, Eric, Samantha, and Cassie. Before we bid a final farewell to Cara, let us recollect what she meant to us, how she touched our lives. Sometimes these words would come to us for others, and I'll now read In Lieu of Flowers by Shauna LeMay. Although I love flowers very much, I won't see them when I'm gone. So in lieu of flowers, buy a book written by somebody still alive. Sit outside with a cup of tea, a glass of wine, and read it out loud by yourself or to someone or silently. Spend some time with a single flower, a rose maybe. Smell it, touch it, really look at it. Drink a nice bottle of wine with somebody you love, or champagne, and think of what Jane Maynard Kay said, my only regret in life is that I did not drink more champagne. Or what Dom Perignon said when he first tasted the stuff, come quickly, I'm tasting stars. Take out a paint set and lay down some colours. Watch birds. Common sparrows are fine, pigeons too. Chickens are nice, magpies. In lieu of flowers, walk in the trees and watch the light fall into it. Eat an apple, a really nice big one. I hope it's crisp. Have a long soap in the bathtub with candles, maybe some rose petals. Sit on the veranda and watch the clouds. Have a dish of strawberry ice cream in my name. If it's winter, have a cup of hot chocolate outside for me. If it's summer, a big glass of ice water. If it's autumn, collect some leaves and press them into a book you love. I'd like that. Sit and look out a window and write down what you see. Write some other things down. In lieu of flowers, I would wish for you to flower. I would wish for you to blossom, to open, to be beautiful. This would be Cara's legacy to you. She would have wished the best and happiest life to each of you. It would be her dearest hope that you would look forward with happiness, acknowledging her part in that happiness, to live your life to the fullest and follow your dreams. The time we spend here is all about being human and expressing the unsettling mix of emotions and responses. Tears are human, smiles are human, hugs and warmth are human, laughs and agreement and things shared in common, all part of who we are. And at the heart of our meditation and words, the humanness of Cara. We celebrate that, what made her tick, her individuality, character, habits, quirks. She has left something in you. What you take of that and do with it is up to you. But this brief time together reminds us how good it is to have love and friendship, and to see so much evidence of in how Cara lived her life, that the opportunity to live and create, it is a fabulous gift. We now respectfully and reverently bid goodbye to Cara. Her journey on earth is over now, and we now convey her to a final resting place. It is with heavy hearts and a knowledge that our love for her that we will let her go. We acknowledge that she will be sorely missed and that we will have grief to contend with over many, many years. But better this grief than to have never known her. How much richer are our lives through sharing hers, no matter the length of time, her meticulous planning, her humour, her strength, and her love. The music you are now about to hear is Beautiful Life by Bebe Rexon. This was the song that was played as Cara walked with her parents to be at Tom's side at her wedding.
But you found me hiding in the shadows from my destiny. And you saw things that no one else could see. You saved me when I was my worst enemy. It feels so good to be alive. Just you and me tonight. To wake me up from this high. What a beautiful life. I heard your heart call.
Would the family please come forward to help Cara on her way?
Stars aligned. To wake me up from this high. What a beautiful life. Spread through me like a wild flame. I feel it in my veins. I'll never ever be the same. I'll never be the same. Cheers to the things when you can't buy. Can't buy what I feel inside. This thing I can't deny. Our pretty little paradise. It feels so good to be alive. Just you